bitch, I hope y'all are ready for a motherfucking rant today because mama is here to rant. So let's get this shit underway. You know by the title what the fuck this video is going to be about. If you have not seen it already, take a minute, go to Twitter, go to the internet, and search the words J.K. Rowling and transphobia. I will wait. Because here's the thing, right? This is not the first time this has happened, okay? So I'm a little bothered by all of this. And so, okay, let me backtrack. Let me take a moment. Let me breathe. Let me explain the situation, right? Okay. So recently, actually a few months ago, I think it hasn't even been like a full year, J.K. Rowling got in trouble for liking a transphobic tweet. Okay, so I did some digging and I decided to look up articles on J.K. Rowling and transphobia and actually found quite a few. The first of which is by the company Them, which talked about the original one, the original transphobic tweet, which is what I was talking about, in which she liked a tweet that referred to trans women as men in dresses. But actually, that wasn't even the first, even though that was the first time I had heard of it, that wasn't the first time that she had been accused of liking a transphobic tweet. In October before, she had also liked another transphobic tweet that was actually an article. And if you really look into, like, even her books, there's a scene in The Silkworm, which I think is like the second Cormoran Strike book, written by Robert Galbraith, who of course we all know as her, which includes a trans woman who has a whole kind of like moment where she tries to kill someone and she's very violent and dangerous. I don't know where to start with any of this. I'm coming at this from, listen, I did the video a while back that was all about how I feel like J.K. Rowling has a big problem with queer baiting throughout her series and throughout her books and throughout her work. And she has this habit that's even really included into Fantastic Beasts of this whole, kind of queer baiting thing. And she has this big problem with this. And it's unfortunate because I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone who is literally named Narcissa, which was a character in the Harry Potter series. I'm currently wearing a Harry Potter themed shirt. My entire room is Harry Potter themed. To some degree, my entire life has been shaped since my childhood by this woman. And so it's very unfortunate to now be sitting here as a trans woman having this conversation about repeatedly now J.K. Rowling has been in this situation where she has been found liking tweets that read as transphobic. And I understand how you can say, well, she just liked this tweet. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't inherently mean that she's transphobic. That doesn't inherently mean that she feels some type of way about trans people. The problem is what you like on Twitter speaks to your character. The things you like, the things you appreciate, the things you give your attention to. You're not, I'm sorry, the original excuse that she gave when it came to the first transphobic tweet, she gave the excuse that she didn't realize that she'd liked it and that she was just old and she didn't know how to use Twitter properly, which is hilarious because if you've seen her on Twitter, she's as adept at it as Cher is, which is to say she knows what the fuck she's doing by now. She knows how likes work. She knows how retweets work. I'm sure she even knows how to subtweet, something I barely know how to do. So she already has an understanding of this platform as a whole. You can't expect me to believe that you accidentally twice now liked a post that happened to be transphobic. It's not possible. I am not someone who believes in coincidences, but even if I did, twice in the span of a year or less than a year, that's no longer a coincidence. That is a habit. And the problem is, as I said, what you like speaks to your character. It doesn't make sense to like things that you disagree with. It doesn't make sense to like something or to, promote something that way if you don't believe in it. And the problem for J.K. Rowling is that because she is such a huge name, because she is such a huge figure, if she likes something, people will find out about it and they will see it and they will take it as this is her giving her tacit endorsement of this thing. The problem is her only defense to prove that she's not transphobic is saying she's old and doesn't know how to use the phone. her and my mother are the same age. They were literally born a few, like less than a month apart. And yet my mother has no trouble using the phone. Granted, I had to teach her the phone, but she still knows what she's doing. My mother hasn't accidentally liked transphobic tweets. And for that matter, how on earth are these transphobic tweets even being in her timeline that she could accidentally like them? At some point, you have to think about the fact that none of this adds up. There is no way that you're going to have a potential tweet, a potentially transphobic tweet in your timeline if you don't follow that sort of thing, if you don't follow that sort of person. And so it begs the question, is she transphobic? My answer to this is, I think as it was before, I don't think liking something transphobic makes you transphobic, but I do believe it makes you someone who now I can't really trust to not be transphobic. To suggest that she's somehow without reproach and that we shouldn't call her out on something is kind of foolish and ridiculous and not something I'm going to stand for. I may be someone who is a huge fan, but I think as a fan, as all of us who are fans, it is our job and our responsibility to call out these activities and say, what the fuck are you doing here? And yeah, I imagine there will be an apology that will follow this particular tweet. I imagine the next time it happens, there will inevitably be an apology. Unfortunately, I don't think your apologies add up to much since this continues to be a problem. And if your only apology is, sorry, I'm old, I don't know how to use a phone, that's not good enough either, because that isn't an apology, it's an excuse. And I think it's very, very telling that this particular apology of J.K. Rowling's, and I use the word loosely, this particular apology was centered around the idea of, it's not really my fault. Because that, to me, is not an apology. Making an excuse for your actions is not an apology. And this is a conversation that we're seeing a lot more, both discourse on YouTube and really elsewhere. And so what that leads me to believe is, at what point do we take her actions as louder than her apology? I'm always going to love Harry Potter, and I'm always going to enjoy and appreciate this world that she has created. And I'm always going to be grateful that I can enjoy these things and that it exists in this world. And I'm not at all trying to say that she needs to be taken down a peg. I'm not at all trying to say that we shouldn't still love her or that she's canceled or anything like that. What I am trying to say, however, is that there is a problem that exists here where we're seeing more and more this person who we love and respect and we, value their opinion and what they think on things. And we're seeing that they are not necessarily the person we thought they were, and their beliefs don't necessarily align with what we thought they did or what we think they should. This is a discussion that needs to be had among the fans, and I think that's very, very important. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you didn't enjoy this video, I don't know what to tell you. Write your congressman, vote in the midterms, and bye. Oh, stay shady. That's what I meant. Bye.